Hey guys, Caleb here from CDBS Studios, and today I finally have the pleasure to talking to you guys about one of my most anticipated movies of the year, that being Project Hail Mary. And I'm not even gonna lie, this is one of the hardest reviews I've ever had to make because I have so many things to say, and literally all of them are positive. So, just to set up the what we're working with in this video is going into this movie, I had very high expectations for Project Hail Mary, as this was the latest project that was worked on by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, which, if you didn't know, have a killer track record when it comes to movies, having things like the Lego Movie, the Spider-Verses, 21 Jump Street, all under their belts. And they're some of the greatest films that I've ever seen in my life. And so I went into Project Hail Mary with very, very high expectations. And genuinely, this movie is Interstellar, but better. Sorry, Interstellar fans, but this movie blows that movie out of the water. And this is honestly become one of my favorite film I've seen so far this year. And honestly, with how much I love this movie, we're gonna need a really solid film later in the year to top this as my favorite movie of the year. So without further ado, let's get into this. Let's get into some of my more specific thoughts, and I'm gonna tell you guys why Project Hail Mary is the best film so far this year, and why it's the first film in a while that I genuinely believe is worth seeing in the movie theaters. So I'm kind of roping a lot into the story section like I usually do because there's so many things to talk about here. First off, the central characters. Most of this film is centered around our two characters, that being Ryan Gosling's character Grace and the little alien dude he meets named Rocky. And they are the two primary characters that we spend pretty much the entire 2.5 hour runtime with. And because we're only with the two of them for the whole film, you can imagine that you better have great characters because of just being pretty much the only two characters that are in most of the film. And they nailed the writing of these two. Both Ryan Gosling and, of course, Rocky himself are played so perfectly to the point where they are likable and their performances are solid as well. They both bounce off each other perfectly throughout the runtime, and I never got bored of either of them, which when a film centers on a dynamic duo, you really want both of the parts of the duo to be good in order to justify it being so good. And then we have the story itself, which the story is very, very interesting to talk about because the story is a 2.5 hour film, so you would expect the story to want to be amazing, and it just is. The story here works at a really fun level where, due to the hypersleep that Ryan Gosling's character was put in to get out to deep space, due to that fact, he doesn't remember pretty much anything from before he got there. So the film uses flashbacks very efficiently to spend time throughout the film to glance back at what happened prior to him getting on the ship, which allows him to slowly learn why he's there and what the mission he's on is supposed to be, which I think is a really good way to not only give exposition to the audience, but also work on his arc, because you slowly start to figure out why he's even on the ship, and it makes for a really fun conclusion near the end. And of course, we got the comedy in this movie. Like I've already mentioned, Phil Lord and Chris Miller kill it in the comedy department, with films like 21 Jump Street, the Lego Movie being some hilarious films. And the comedy in Project Hail Mary is so good. I caught myself laughing pretty much every minute or so. There are so many jokes in this thing, and all of them hit. Even some of the small jokes that shouldn't be as funny as they are got me laughing in the theater. This was a really funny movie. And it also is good that the comedy is also really nicely allowed to rest when we need dramatic moments. When the film needs dramatic and serious moments in the film knows that's what it needs. So they actually pause on the comedy and decide to make an intense scene. And that is important in a movie. There are so many films out there where if it's a comedy, they feel like they need to shove a comedy a joke in the scenes because it's a comedy film, so we got to be making constant jokes when there's supposed to be serious moments in the film that need the jokes to rest. And the jokes in Project Hail Mary are allowed to take a minute off if we need a serious dramatic moment, which I'm so happy that they were able to do that. If the only real thing that I can say about the film is when it comes to the pacing of the film is usually really, really good, except for early on in the film. Literally, my only negative on this entire film, which is honestly more of a nitpick if we're being honest, is that very early on in the movie, because of course Ryan Gosling wakes up, he has no idea why he's on the ship. The pacing can be really slow, especially in that first like 20 minutes. It's not like 20 minutes. It's more like 10 minutes or something. It's more like 10 minutes, but like 10 minutes. And other than that, though, after that point, the pacing is perfect after that. So, I mean, it's a little rough at the beginning of the film, but other than that, the pacing is perfect. And literally, that is the only negative thing I have about the entire film. And that is saying something because there's so many elements that go into a movie. And if that's the one thing I have for the entire film, and from what I've been seeing on like other reviews, that's honestly probably more of a personal nitpick. But other than that, the story and all the elements that fold into it are honestly perfect. And it makes for a film that grabs your attention early on and you never lose it over the 2.5 hour runtime, which so many movies can do that, which means that this movie even gets bonus points for that. And now we come to the reason why I feel like you have to see this movie in the movie theaters is the technical elements. There is so many movies out there where it doesn't really matter where you watch them or how you watch them. Like I'm open to letting people do their own thing when it comes to movies, and I'm open for people being like, "Oh, I'm just going to watch this movie on my phone when it drops. I'm gonna watch the movie on my phone. I'm gonna wait for it on streaming. I'm gonna wait for the DVD Blu-ray. I'm gonna wait to just watch it at my house. I'm gonna watch it on a computer, a laptop, but something on a plane at a later point." But genuinely, this movie rewards you for seeing it in the theaters. The CGI in this movie looks so good that I genuinely felt like I was getting transported to another world. I like Interstellar for its CGI. CGI in Interstellar is great, but oh my, Project Hail Mary blows it out of the water. There are some sequences in this movie that look visually stunning, and it got me sitting up straight in the movie theater watching this thing because they looked so good. And seeing this film on the biggest screen possible makes those visuals even better. Like, this movie rewards a theater experience, and it's one of the best theater experiences I've had in a long time. And also the score. The score on this film is so good as well. Like, there are so many pieces of music in this movie that not only sound great on their own. I have listened to a couple of them outside of the theater because they're just that good, but they go to enhance the scenes as well. It creates a movie that is electric, and it means that seeing it in the theaters with the biggest screen possible and the best surround sound you've ever had in your life means the movie is so much better than if you were to wait for it on streaming or your phone, because man, this movie's technical elements are firing on tenfold, and it delivers a product that is so good and is honestly worth those high ticket prices that we unfortunately have to contend with in the year of our Lord 2026. So I feel like you can probably discern from my tone throughout most of this review and some of the things I've said, this is an easy 10 out of 10. Like, there is literally only negative thing I have on the film is like the pacing being slow in the first 10 minutes. But I've even seen most people say that that's more of a nitpick anyway. So honestly, I have almost zero things to say about this film that are negative because everything works. And this is just another perfect film to add to the cap of Phil Lord and Chris Miller because they have a great track record, and Project Hail Mary does not discern that at all. This is easily the best film I've seen so far this year, and now every other film this year has some pretty big competition if it wants to be better than this movie for a chance to be my favorite movie of the year, because this was just that good of a film. And honestly, if you're able to go see this in the theaters, I highly recommend you go do it, because this is a movie that earned the theater tickets, and it's so good and worth it. So I want to thank you guys all very much for watching this review, and I want to know if you have seen Project Hail Mary. Let me know what you thought about the film down in the comments, and maybe we can get a conversation going. But without further ado, thank you guys all very much for watching this review, and hope to see you guys all in the next one. Bye, guys!